Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another video, and today we're doing a review for WandaVision Episode 8. So, this is your warning that this is a spoiler review for WandaVision Episode 8. Basically, I'm just going to be giving you my thoughts of the penultimate episode before the final. But before we get started, make sure you leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. Episode 8 starts off with like this witch trial. You know, Agatha's being like burned at the stake for like using dark magic back like whenever, many years back, and all these witches decide to like fire these blue spells at her, and she's like, nah, my dark magic's got this. Turns them all purple, sucks the life out of all of them, they're all dead, kills her mom. And when the episode started like that, I was like, okay, obviously we're gonna get an Agatha backstory because she introduced herself at the end of the last episode, right? That was the cliffhanger for episode 7. But as this episode kept going, and I guess I will have to see in the future of what they do with Agatha and how we explore her story. But I don't know, it just kind of felt like the beginning was just so separated from the rest of the story. They were like, okay, since we introduced you to Agatha, we kind of just have to just put this one scene in there for the beginning just to show you that she was a witch that was like there. I mean, it meant nothing to me, right? Like, cool, her mom tried to like kill her and then she killed everybody and then left. I don't actually know what happened. They said she used dark magic, but how did that, like, when they all fired at her and she was like dying, it just suddenly, then she started winning, right? Just all of a sudden she flipped the tables on them and sucked the life out of everybody and killed them. But anyways, the real juice of this story is that Agatha Harkness, her goal seems to be that she wants to figure out what the hell is Wanda doing here, because she's impressed by the fact that Wanda is able to do this. Now the thing with Wanda is that she uses magic, obviously, and this is why I'm excited to see her in Doctor Strange's movie, because her and Doctor Strange haven't really talked yet, but it seems like, yeah, she always kind of had these powers after the Mind Stone affected her, and then she was doing all this magic stuff, but she never really learned anything, right? Like Agatha tells her, she's like, have you ever read like a witchcraft book? Have you ever like studied a spell or anything? Like, how are you doing this just randomly? And she seems a bit jealous of it all. But what we do learn in this episode is that apparently Wanda was a witch all along. Like, she had this suppressed power within her, and that's how her and Pietro survived that Stark bomb. The Stark bomb wasn't a dud. It, you know, they tell a story in Age of Ultron how they both just like stayed in their fallen apartment waiting for the Stark bomb that landed in their living room to go off, right? But apparently that bomb wasn't a dud. Wanda like used powers to stop it. Back then she didn't know she had powers. There's that one scene where like the Hydra people are doing the experiment on her and she's with the Mind Stone and the Mind Stone explodes and she's looking at her future, and her future is to be the Scarlet Witch. And that just makes you think of like, okay, so Wanda had the powers within her, right? And Agatha says the Mind Stone just amplified it and it made it come out. If the Mind Stone never happened, you probably would have lived your life not knowing you had those powers. So does that mean Pietro had suppressed powers as well that the Mind Stone enhanced? Because the Hydra agents do say, you know, they're like, are you sure about this? Because nobody has survived yet. And they're like, yeah, let's give these people a try. And I guess the only reason they did survive is because they had these suppressed powers within them that they didn't know they had. Yeah, it just makes me think, did Pietro have this? Do multiple people have this? It reminds me of like Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., you know, with Inhumans. Whoever touches the rock or the crystals, sometimes you get powers, sometimes you die. It's like whoever is the chosen one. Is that their introduction to the mutants? You know, people around the world potentially have powers, but they don't know that, and they need something to amplify them to make them come out. Like, is that how we're going to do it? Maybe. This episode does provide us with some answers. We all had questions of like, why sitcoms? Why are we jumping decades? What's up with the sitcoms? And maybe people had theories of that. Maybe Wanda grew up on American sitcoms. I originally kind of thought that was silly, but I like this. You know, I really like the scene where they go back into their apartment, and it kind of more explains of why they used to watch sitcoms in Sokovia, and they used to watch them to learn English. They had like a night where like everybody would speak English in their household just to practice their English, and like these shows helped them, and they were just a great escape for Wanda from like this war-torn country. And you know, that scene was just so nice and wholesome of young Wanda and Pietro all sitting with the family. We get an introduction to their parents actually. And then, you know, they're just chilling, watching a show, some sad piano music starts playing, and then BOOM! By the way, the bomb was a reference to the commercial from the first episode, you know, the Stark thing, the little thing was lighting on the toaster, and it was making a noise. Like, this episode's providing those kind of answers of like, oh, this was intentional. And, we saw them watch the Dick Van Dyke Show, which was apparently Wanda's favorite show, and that's what the first episode of this show was modeled after. So we're seeing, like, where this sitcom idea for Wanda is coming from. I gotta say, what this episode did for me was, or what this whole show is doing for me, especially this episode, it's making me care about Wanda more as a character. This episode, again, did was show Wanda's backstory, show more about her and Vision's relationship. My favorite scene, however, the entire episode was her and Vision sitting in her room in the Avengers compound, and they're watching Malcolm in the Middle, and this is right after Pietro's death, apparently, or so it's said to be. And, Vision comes into the room, and she's telling him how she's just so done with it, this wave keeps coming at her and it's going to keep taking her out and keep taking her out. And I feel like a lot of people might relate to that, to what she's saying. It felt really real, and Elizabeth Olsen is giving fantastic performances. I was saying how she was great before and how in these last few episodes she's going to be fantastic, because it's really heading, towards a very dramatic, sad ending for Wanda. I feel like her and Vision share this moment in the Avengers compound, and I gotta be honest, with their relationship, Wanda and Vision, right? I always felt like, for me at least, there was something missing, and that something was the beginning of their relationship. Them trying to form it and having these awkward moments that, like, will this happen, will this not happen? And then, trying to build this relationship, because I guess it all started in Civil War. They share that conversation about Paprika, and throughout the whole movie, there's small segments of it. And then we don't see them until Infinity War, and in Infinity War, they're like a full-grown couple now, so we missed those early stages, I guess, of the setup of their relationship. And I just kind of always went along with it, because I think Paul Bettany and Elizabeth Olsen's fantastic acting and their great chemistry just kind of hid that weak setup away, right? That rushed setup. They were so good together that I kind of ignored the fact that this whole relationship was rushed. But in the back of my head, I always felt like that. And I feel like what this scene provided for me, them in the Avengers compound talking, was that early stage of the relationship that I was talking about, They're sitting in her room, they're not a couple yet, they're flirting with the idea of it, and Vision has some serious game, man. I mean, that one line was so beautiful about grief, where he says, "What is grief, if not love persevering?" Like, that was just so beautiful, and it's just the way Vision talks. It's so well written for his character, and a lot of the times I do like his dialogue, like that conversation that he had with Ultron at the Age of Ultron in the forest, where they talk about humanity and how humanity is doomed and the beautiful side of humanity. That one scene honestly did so much for me, because I looked at both of them and I was like, I really care about you, I really care about you, and I really care about both of you. That was great. I love how Vision, he sees that she's upset, and they had this whole conversation just now, and he laughs at the TV show, but I honestly don't think that he knows what he's laughing at. He's just kind of laughing to make her happy, and again, Vision has game. What can I say? Vision's smooth with it. That scene when she's at the Sword headquarters, and Hayward is like, "Oh yeah, let me show you Vision's body." Like, what was he even thinking then, right? Like, she's super powerful. Do you know that's probably going to piss her off? And she's just standing there watching those doctors decapitate her boyfriend, or just tearing him apart and, like, sawing his, like, metal off, or, like, his vibranium off, and taking him apart. That was hard to watch for me, and that is a fictional character. I was like, oh, dude, what? Oh, come on, bro, that's not cool. Imagine what it was like for her to watch it, to actually, like, this is her boyfriend being torn apart right now. Literally being torn apart right in front of her, man. That was a disturbing scene, man. And there was that little callback to Infinity War. In Infinity War, they had the whole thing where she would touch his forehead or the Infinity Stone, and she's like, "Oh, I can feel you." But in this scene, there was a much sadder moment where she would try it, and she was like, I can't feel you. Elizabeth Olsen, man, she's killing it right now. She's doing fantastic, and I can't wait to see what she's going to do in episode 9, because I think episode 9 is about to be fucking epic. Then she packs everything, drives down to Westview, which is apparently Westview is an actual place. I remember earlier in the season, those cops said that Westview was not a real place, but I guess when Wanda took over Westview, she erased the memories of everybody about Westview. Like, Westview just disappeared off the map. I don't know what that was about. But anyway, she's in Westview, and we see, like, all the characters. We see Herbs, we see that guy with the mustache, the mom from that 70s show. and they all just kind of seem like, it doesn't seem like Westview is the worst place, but it just kind of seems like everybody's down. It's not the greatest place on the planet, right? They're all a bit upset. And you can definitely see that in the process of making this fake reality to make herself happy, Wanda made everybody else happy as well. And that is what fake Pietro was saying, was that, oh yeah, you did a pretty good job, you know, the families are all together, everybody's having a better time, better jobs, better haircuts. And about Pietro, in my last video I talked about how Pietro could have been anybody, like Agatha sent a fake person in there. She even said it's a fake Pietro, right? She said that she couldn't get her brother's body because it was in another continent, so she got somebody else. But like I said, they could have gotten anybody else, but Marvel, for fan service, I purely think it's fan service, was like, let's get Evan Peters. Let's get Evan Peters here to make the fans freak out. And we find out that the deed was, you know, Vision, I guess, got this piece of land for them to build a house together and grow old in. And this is, again, going back to, like, we missed those early setups, you know? I guess they didn't think this far ahead, so we didn't really get that scene much earlier of them maybe buying this land or something. So it just kind of got put in here, right? The fact that they off-screen bought land together and we're going to build a house here. It doesn't really make sense because they were on the run before Infinity War. They were on the run in Infinity War. So, like, why would they settle in a town in New Jersey? But anyways, Elizabeth Olsen again killing the acting, and she just explodes and, you know, takes over the whole town. The whole town transitions. And this is when Agatha looked at her and was like, okay, all right. I've seen enough here. We've been through your past enough. You are insane. You created this town out of nothing. You can do spontaneous creation. That is chaos magic, Wanda. Don't know what that means exactly. I mean, put two and two words together. And then she does the name drop. Agatha Harkness calls Wanda Maximoff the Scarlet Witch. Woo! I got chills from that, man. That got me so hyped. Just that one name drop. Oof! Come on! That's hard. That goes hard. Woo! On Agatha Harkness, do you guys think she's a bad guy? I don't know. Part of me kind of doesn't think she's a bad guy. Again, don't read the comics, so, you know, don't spoil for me. In the comics, she's a good guy or anything. Yeah, she's a witch. You know, she has a pretty cool robe on her. Kathryn Hahn is doing a fantastic job so far as her. I like the switch up to where, you know, her acting was completely different when she was undercover, and she's doing a whole new thing right now with Agatha Harkness. But anyways, I was just paying attention to the dialogue that she was telling her, and it seemed like, okay, at first it seemed like she wanted the information. She was like, how did you make this? I want this magic. I want to be able to create anything I want, right? But then there at the end, she looked like she wanted to stop her. You know what I mean? She was like, Wanda, you're dangerous. This is chaos magic. This is not good. So that left me with thinking, are you trying to stop her? Are you a good guy here? Do you think that what she's doing is dangerous? And I also like the fact that they are keeping Wanda as the villain, and I hope they keep Wanda as the villain. Not really the villain, but responsible for everything. Because I've always wanted her in this show to be the one who created all of this and trapped all these civilians in this fake reality, be at fault for it. And people are making theories like, oh, what if she's mind controlled and she's being manipulated to do this? I was like, that's such a cheap way to get out of this. Like, can we just have Wanda be the one responsible to do all of this? That would be so much better. And it seems like, yeah, Agatha Harkness never really controlled her. She just observed her and her reality. And now she's telling her, you're dangerous. Potentially, you got to be stopped. I mean, we have to see the next episode to see what she continues to tell her. But yeah, that's the feeling that I got, that she's potentially the good guy or on the good side. And she's like trying to help Wanda, you know? She's not trying to find out how to do it herself. She's trying to help her. Maybe. We'll see. Anyways, this episode ends with Tyler Hayward using a bit of Wanda's magic to turn on the body of Vision that he put back together. And now we have a whole different white Vision, which I guess is potentially like a bad guy, like a Ultron type, because he doesn't have the Infinity Stone and he's not, he doesn't have Vision's personality. I guess he's just an android now. So part of me thinks that they added that in because they were like, okay, final episode, we've been doing this whole drama thing, not much Marvel action. Let's get this white Vision in here, this bad guy, for them to fight somebody in an epic third act battle there at the end. It's just kind of how I'm thinking about it, that like he's just going to be there for the big third act final fight, potentially, you know, something for them to fight. Not talk it out with Agatha, but to fight something. Vision, man, what are we going to do with you? What are we going to do with you? Because I kept making these predictions from day one that Vision's not making it out of the show. But again, as we keep going and as we keep exploring their relationship more and we get more great scenes of Vision, like the one, you know, where he dropped that gem of a line, the more I start thinking, no, don't kill him. I want to see more Vision in the future. Don't do it. But I really think it's going to happen. And I don't think they should bring him back. I think they should, you know, take this fake Vision out, the one that she created out of her own power. So, like, what lesson are you sending to the audience and about the whole show of that, like, if Wanda brings Vision back with her magic? I think it will be much more impactful and much more meaningful if she actually loses him for good, and she's, like, done with it. Like, this therapeutic experience of building this fake reality and, you know, going through grief and everything is just, like, finally, like, her actually losing Vision will, like, finally let her character move on from him, you know? Him actually coming back to life will just go against the whole concept or the whole theme of the show. Or at least the theme that I'm picking up on is that there's a whole therapeutic experience for Wanda, and she's going through grief, and this will be something that, like, she will just have to deal with at one point, that she lost her loved one, and just move on as a person. You know, bringing him back will just be so cheap, I guess. So yeah, listen, the next episode has already been reported that it's 50 minutes long with credits. That's like a 43-minute episode with substance. I'm expecting a Doctor Strange cameo. 50 minutes, is that enough to settle what we have left? Because I feel like we have a lot of things left, you know. What's going to happen with Agatha? I already think that, you know, we've kind of started to explore Agatha's story. So I feel like she's really going to move on into Doctor Strange too. She's going to be fine. She's going to survive this, I think. We're going to have to deal with White Vision and Zord in general. What are we going to do with them? Wanda's kids are dead. They're gone. I think they're going to be gone. Darcy, Monica, what are they going to do? Fake Pietro. But what I'm going to warn you about is that potentially be ready for the fact that some of your questions will just not be answered, because this show goes into Doctor Strange, into the multiverse of madness. So yeah, we'll get some big reveals and big answers, but some things are just going to overlap back into Doctor Strange, and we're going to see some shit happen there. But anyways, that was my review for episode 8. Yeah, I really enjoyed it. This was a really big episode. I think it's my second favorite episode. Episode 5 is still my favorite with the Pietro reveal, and there was a lot of drama going in that one. But this one was really good, and I'm really excited for the final. Really excited to see what they have in store. But yeah, with that being said, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. I'd really appreciate that. Check out some of my other videos, and I'll see you guys in the next video, and I'll see you guys at the end of the week. Bye.